Mr. Men and Little Miss Treasury. I've got tons of stories to tell you. Come and see. There we are. And the story I'm picking tonight is Little Miss Sunshine Keeps Her Smile. Little Miss Sunshine lives in Rise and Shine Cottage on the bank of a river. And Little Miss Sunshine, as her name suggests, is the very happy person. The sort of person who never gets in a bad mood. The sort of person who is the exact opposite of somebody who appears in the story. That somebody is Mr. Grumpy. And Mr. Grumpy, as his name suggests, is the grumpiest person in the world. The sort of person who's always in a bad mood. Everything annoys him. Flowers growing in his garden, sunny days and rainy days. But the thing that puts Mr. Grumpy in the worst possible mood is seeing other people happy. One morning, Mr. Grumpy met Little Miss Sunshine. "Good morning, Mr. Grumpy," said Miss Sunshine cheerfully. "There's nothing good about it," snapped Mr. Grumpy. Huffed Mr. Grumpy after Miss Sunshine had left. "That Miss Sunshine is so abominably happy. Just for once I'd like to see her in a bad mood." It was on his way home that Mr. Grumpy thought of a plan. A plan to upset Miss Sunshine. He raced home and made a list of all the things that were guaranteed to upset him. It was a very long list. "Now, there must be something here that will put Miss Sunshine in a bad mood," he said to himself. Mr. Grumpy was not a very nice man. The first thing Mr. Grumpy had written down on his list was waiting for buses. So the next day Mr. Grumpy opened the gate and let all Farmer Field's sheep out into the lane, and the bus was delayed for hours and hours while all the sheep were rounded up. Mr. Grumpy ran around to the bus stop. "Tee-hee!" he chuckled nastily. "I can't wait to see how upset Miss Sunshine is." But Little Miss Sunshine was not upset. In fact, she was not there. It was such a nice day she had decided to walk into town. "Bother!" said Mr. Grumpy. The next day, Mr. Grumpy looked at the second thing at his list. "Losing," he read out loud. So that evening, he invited Miss Sunshine round to his house to play cards, and he cheated. But Little Miss Sunshine, being the happy-go-lucky person did not mind losing. Mr. Grumpy won every game they played. "Oh, well played, Mr. Grumpy," she said at the end of the evening. "Drat and bother," said Mr. Grumpy after she had left. Mr. Grumpy read down his list again. Number 3 said, "Getting caught in the rain." Mr. Grumpy filled his watering can and, using his ladder, climbed the tree just outside Miss Sunshine's house. And there he waited until Miss Sunshine came out for her walk. But Miss Sunshine saw the ladder. "What a silly place to leave a ladder," she said to herself, and walked around the other side of the tree and put the ladder away. "Drat, bother and blast," muttered Mr. Grumpy, who ended up stuck in a tree all night. Well, nearly all night. Just before sunrise, he fell asleep and fell off the tree. The fourth thing on Mr. Grumpy's list was queues. Mr. Grumpy waited until Miss Sunshine went shopping, and then he rushed ahead of her to the greengrocer's, where he started an argument with Miss Pod about the quality of her peas. As he argued, a queue began to grow behind him, and when he glanced back, he saw Miss Sunshine standing at the back of the queue. He smiled to himself and carried on arguing until he felt sure she must be fed up of waiting. But when he turned around, the queue had disappeared, and when he went outside, he found everyone happily chatting to Miss Sunshine. "Double drat, bother and blast!" Mr. Grumpy was furious. But then Mr. Nosy had another thoroughly nasty idea. "Do you know," said Mr. Grumpy, "what Miss Sunshine calls Miss Bossy behind her back? She calls her knobbly knees." Mr. Grumpy's thoroughly nasty idea was to start a rumour that would get Miss Sunshine into trouble. And the rumour spread. Mr. Nosy told little Miss Star, who told Mr. Uppity, who told little Miss Splendid, who told Mr. Muddle, who told little Miss Bossy, and Miss Sunshine said that Mr. Grumpy calls you Nobbly-knee, said Mr. Muddle. Did he now? Said Miss Bossy grimly, and marched straight around to Mr. Grumpy's house and punched him on the nose. It was a very sorry-looking Mr. Grumpy that Miss Sunshine met outside her house next day. Miss Sunshine invited him for breakfast to cheer him up, and cooked him fried eggs. Sunny side up, of course. And did she manage to cheer up Mr. Grumpy? Of course not. No more than Mr. Grumpy can upset Miss Sunshine. And that is the end of our story. See you next time for another story. Goodbye.